not a second-hand coat. I want a yacht, not a cheap little boat. I tell my daddy not to be depressed. All I need for happiness is the best. I want a diamond, nothing else has appeal. And when it comes to men, you know how I feel. I want a real man. Give me a real man, you know what I mean. I want a real man. Oh, real man, you're what I need.
Guys, what's up? Give me a hug, big man. Another hug? I know, but it'll only be on 2 more episodes. Spread out the Hey, what's up? Welcome to Real Men. This is the magazine show where men get real, and I'm your host, Tim Steeves. We have an awesome panel of all-star yackers assembled to break it down today, so let's meet them. We're serving up a little bit of the Chuck Byrn today on Real Men. How are you, Chuck?
I am an all-star yacker.
That's right, buddy.
Yes.
Ted Dykstra is here with his yakety yak on.
I had some of the Chuck. It was good.
Right on. Kate Ashby is with us as well.
You hugged Dwayne.
Sorry. Oh, the big man. I can't resist the big fella over there, Dwayne Hill.
If you're watching this show, you're probably crying to yourself.
That's how we're going to get this segment started on the show today on Real Men. That same Dwayne Hill is going to kick it. Go ahead, big man.
Well, we won't know till this afternoon whether the tests are conclusive, but it seems to me, young lady, like you're going to have a baby. How does that make you feel? I know, isn't it wonderful? Does your husband know you're visiting today? Oh, you're not married? Oh, I don't have a husband. I have a boyfriend, and his name is Dwayne. Ah! Hello? Yeah, hey, how's it going? You're what? You're pregnant? Oh, my God. That is incredible news. A little one of me? When? New Year's Eve. I knew it. There was something magical, and I love you more. No, I'm leaving work right now. Are you kidding? This is great. Let's cut to the reality, shall we? Hey, it's Dwayne. Oh, hey. You're what? Oh, my God. Oh, God. Well, you know, it's your decision. Whatever you want to do, please get an abortion. Well, you know, it's your decision. I believe that it's wholly your decision. No, I'm not upset. I'm so upset. Well, of course I want to continue my lineage at some point. Let's go for a long walk. Maybe I could push you down some stairs. Hello? Hello? She'll call back. She's got my baby. Tim?
Oh, nice job, Dwayner. More sensitive handling of a serious topic by the big fella. Nice job. Ted, when you and your wife got pregnant, there was no paternity issue, was there? You were pretty sure?
Yeah, to the best of my knowledge, the child is mine.
Yeah.
Baby came out with highlights.
It came out with, actually, the reverse of me. He had dark hair and his roots were blonde. So I think he's losing his dark hair and he'll become blonde.
Photo negative.
I've heard that the baby looks like the father for the first 4 months or so, and this was to prevent the father from throwing the baby out when it was born.
Right.
That's probably true.
Wow. Ooh. Hadn't heard that one before.
Well, in the research for this, they said that, what was it, 25% of paternity tests aren't the guy.
Oh, yeah.
So even if it gets to the, but I would assume if it gets to the point where you're having to have a paternity test,
Then it's in doubt anyway.
there probably is some doubt about it.
So do you think that it's because women have slept with so many, that she's had a couple of partners and she's guessing, or do you think she knows that, like, what's going on
Well,
there?
if
Why
it's coming up negative, she's obviously guessing.
I think
Right.
I think a lot of paternity tests are a result of divorces, right? Because
Yeah.
it happens. The guy's like,
Not my baby.
well, you know, well, it's like I'm not too sure, and you know, I don't, you know, the kid's kind of stupid. You know, I don't really. You know, he's great. He plays, but he eats paste like all the time. He must get that from you. Actually, I had that phone call where a girl called me up and thought she was pregnant, and I don't know what women think, how women think men react, but I honestly wanted to die and change my identity and run screaming from the
Why?
building. And I was 28 years old. Like, I'm at the age where I should want kids. Why?
Yeah.
Because
'Cause you
I
didn't
do
wanna
not
have
want
one.
a child.
You don't
I want to
ever-
go to Europe and be arrested for too many prostitutes. Officers, there's such a crime. You know? And I want to be, I want to live. And I don't want a little version of me. Yuck, ow,
But the thing
ooh.
is that if you're obviously not with this girl, you could still go to Europe and live. Just because you have a child doesn't mean you stop living.
Oh, if I even just saying it, oh,
You don't want a child.
People at home, I know you don't want kids, do you? You can rent them. Would you babysit? It's a hoot.
Would you want your father going to Europe and getting arrested for being with too many prostitutes?
Yes.
You would?
Yes, I'd want my dad. I think the best fathers are the ones that get into jail.
with
And, you know,
prostitutes.
and your mom would be okay with this.
Well,
and
but it
everything?
doesn't sound like the mother. He wasn't still with her.
No, I was still with her, and actually,
I didn't think you were still with her.
And it was just a test to see how I would react. I found out later.
That was the end of that.
It was.
failed that job.
I broke up with her, and I didn't date her anymore, and we definitely did not have sex anymore.
But the paternity test is usually the guy saying it's not mine, right? And hoping that it's true.
Yeah.
Praying
Probably,
that it's
right?
not
Praying
his.
that
But I
it's
mean, like, it was honestly, I've never felt worse in my life. Like, and I got like arrested once, like drifting across 4 lanes of traffic, doing like $1.80 in the car, and a cop pulled me over, and I felt like that's how I felt, wetting myself and just disappearing. You know, please get an abortion if this is even slightly.
Chuck, have you ever been in that situation?
No, I instead of children, what I have is condoms. And, I find they work.
Latex allergy, apparently.
Haven't you ever been with a girl that goes, "Oh, my period's late," and then you kind of go, "Oh my God."
No, I'm a cloud of dust long before that ever comes up.
We've been dating for 30 days.
Town on the
You've never gone
stand-up tour.
28 days. You've never gone 28 days
this
with
must be
anyone.
like for a kid to be living with a group of parents for a certain amount of time, and then for, let's say, 3 or 4 years or 5 or 7 or whatever, and then find out that, hey, that's not even my dad. I mean, if it's 25% is the percentage of that this happens to, it must really mess up kids.
Of course.
You know
it
what?
does.
I know who my dad is, and it's like I really think that
And
it's
what?
who-
What are you saying by that?
Well, I'm saying like my dad's, kind of a schmuck,
yeah, but
he's
you
like
know
he's sort
who
of like
he is.
me.
It doesn't matter that you know who he is.
I know who he is, and I refuse to talk to him.
That's fine.
All right, let's get out of here.
That's fine.
That's wonderfully
That's
fine.
fine.
Get out on
That's
that
fine. It's
sentiment.
still, you know who he is.
Because he's
So,
never
who
been to
cares?
Europe and never slept with a prostitute.
Hello.
Sorry.
We're leaving. We're going to come back after this message, and we're going to be talking about men as objects. We're going to be joined by Sylvia Piccata, Sunshine Boy photographer. We'll talk about objectifying men when we come back. Do you think women objectify men as much as we objectify you guys? Yeah, let's get you in.
Definitely. Women, every man they look at, they go, up and down, every single one. You may not see it, but we do it.
Just more subtle with it than us.
Yeah, dark glasses.
Teddy's getting a swerve on today. Hey, welcome back to Real Men. This segment, we're joined by Sylvia Piccata. Thanks, Sylvia, for coming in.
Thank you.
Toronto Sun photographer, and we're talking about men as objects this segment, and Kate Ashby will set the table. Go ahead, Kate.
Thanks, Tim. Okay, let's go shopping for the perfect man. He'd have Ricky's hair, Newman's eyes, Mick's lips, Wahlberg's chest, Brad's abs, Mel's ass, Arnold's legs and arms. And now for the crucial parts, the best parts, because they're an indication for the most important part. The hands, the feet, and the nose. He'd have Michael Jordan's hands, Sideshow Bob's feet, and nose, Pinocchio, for all the obvious reasons. His voice, nah. Let's not give him a voice. That'd just spoil everything. That's what I want for Christmas, Tim.
New from Hasbro. You get the Pinocchio nose, Kate, and then it's just like, tell the truth, tell a lie. Tell the truth, tell a
There
lie.
you
I know, I
go.
see you working. I
There
see
you
you working.
go.
It's the old joke. Welcome, Sylvia. Thanks for coming in. Sylvia Piccata, Sun photographer. So we're talking men as objects. And basically, that's your ballgame, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I don't feel men that are victims as being objects. Usually they enjoy being the center of attention in most cases.
But if we said that about women, we'd get yelled at. Women love being in Playboy. They do, but that's wrong to say.
Well, I don't even know if
Why
it's...
would it be wrong to say that?
But, have you ever heard of a man being called, a victim because he did a fireman's calendar?
Well, you know what? I think it's usually women. I think that's where the issue lies, is in women saying that women are victims.
Yes, I agree.
I mean, I photograph a lot of cheesecake as much as beefcake, and I've never had to twist any woman's arm to pose. And,
No.
And a woman's shooting it, so I don't know what the big issue is.
Yeah, I
you know?
agree.
But I think the double standard on this issue lies with women, not with men.
the other thing I've noticed, even if we're relating to like Sunshine Boys and Sunshine Girls, usually, and the big complaint is this, that the girl usually almost has to wear bikini, whereas the guy can be fully clothed.
Why is that?
Trust me, sometimes you want them clothed.
I always,
you want them
honestly, I think that guys look way sexier with a t-shirt and faded jeans and a baseball hat than, like, this guy is great and he's very sexy. Mr. January is very sexy. But I actually prefer that as well.
Well, maybe women have more imagination, that we can go beyond the t-shirt and clothes, but men have to, like, really see it. They have to see it.
Do you feel like an object on this show, Ted? Flaunting your sexuality on Real Men?
No, I don't. In fact, I look at a calendar like that and I go, and it's beautiful. The photography is great. It's absolutely great. But I go, January, gay. February, gay. March, gay.
And this is coming from a man with a perm.
That's right.
I mean, let's face it.
I do not have a perm. Let's be clear
When
about
Teddy
that.
D is calling you gay,
it's a wash.
you've got a
But the reason for that is I know that I will never look like that. So I'd rather just dismiss every one of those guys as being gay. And I know that the women who like guys like that will never like me. So I might as well dismiss them as being gay,
Jump
too.
in, Dwayne.
And the men go through the women's calendars and they go, gay. Gay.
Gayer.
Sylvia, go ahead.
No, I think that when I watch men go through these Sunshine Girl calendars where I have shot these women, and it's just amazing how critical men can be.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, her lips are, and her nose is too, like, the smallest thing. Whereas you take a pretty ordinary
You know how
man.
hard it is to have sex with a woman with high self-esteem? I mean, that's what I mean, it's all about knocking out the feet.
Speak it, Chuck.
Getting the legs out from underneath them.
This is important stuff.
The only negative to this guy is he's 5'1". I just know it, isn't he? He was like a dwarf, wasn't he?
No, he's not 6 foot, I think, but he's 5'8". And so what?
Well, I said that's the only negative.
Well, how do you know?
Dwayne has
Is there
over
a
top
measurement
the
of his
guys.
height here?
Dwayne goes
It
about
shows.
6'5".
It
It sort of does look like he's short.
He looks
That-
well
that
because all those guys that are
particular
that muscular are usually like, I'm taller than
Well, he's
Okay, how
holding
tall
a
is this guy?
screwdriver. That's a reveal.
that guy's 6'2", maybe.
He's pretty good, eh? He knows his men, huh?
I do know my
Please do
man.
not
He
encourage
knows his
him.
men all right.
He knows his
Do you know
men.
what?
He's
I'll
on the
say
internet.
firefighters, though, have to be the sexiest. I think that a calendar of firefighters is a great
Sylvia,
thing.
when you put this calendar out, wasn't there a bit of, I heard on the radio a little bit, some kerfuffle? Was there kerfuffle?
A bit of controversy.
Yeah, controversy.
Well, I didn't really, no one's approached me in terms of that. I mean, I think it was done tastefully.
Oh, absolutely.
I've seen other firefighters where they're like naked holding a hose, and I think that's a little
Where's
bit going
that
beyond.
calendar?
Their own hose.
Yeah, their own hose. So that, I think there should be some restrictions in terms of, not going beyond a certain point, because that little bit of extra clothing does make something more sexy, more
I think guys
appealing.
would probably.
You don't have to, a naked fireman doesn't
No.
stir my hormones too much.
Now, how are they when you shoot them? Are they?
Oh, they're great.
They're not, because they're not actors. They're not models.
No, but they're really.
They're into
They're
it.
pretty
and-
boys,
I'm a
though.
Southern-
You don't spend 4 hours a day in the gym without knowing you're a pretty boy.
Oh, no, they're not.
Oh yeah, because this physique,
jealous. They
this
are
physique
not,
just
oh,
comes out of a
man.
can.
Okay, that doesn't come out of a can.
No, but the guy's dedicated to making
Genetics.
himself
Have you
look
ever heard
good.
genetics?
I've heard of genetics.
Have
My
you ever
brother
heard
runs
not eating too
Iron
many
Man for a living.
hamburgers?
Look at me.
Well, I mean, just
It's
cut down on the
dedication.
pasta.
But he knows he's a pretty boy.
Tim, I think we should do a real
None
man
of-
calendar. I think it'd be
He
great.
must know
that'd
that
be a
he's
big
pretty
seller.
boy.
We are going to do
Man,
it,
and it's dated.
All right, let's
Please
get
buy.
out.
We've got 4 days left to the millennium.
Sylvia, thanks for coming in. We
Thank
really
you very
appreciate
much.
it. That was great, and your work is beautiful.
Yes.
And
Excellent.
we're going to
Yes,
show
indeed.
some more as we split. When we come back, we're going to talk men as victims. After this, stay with us on Real Men. Thanks again, Sylvia.
Thank
That was
you.
great.
He looks like he would have been a pretty good.
He's a sweet Irish. If you didn't give me Irish, very
I think he's got something in the coffee. Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to Real Men. This segment, we're going to talk about men as victims. Dwayne, can we be victims? Come on.
Yeah, I think so. I was quoting the Book of Alton today, and it had mentioned John Wayne Bobbitt. John Wayne Bobbitt. The woman cuts off his penis, runs away with it. Thanks, sweetheart. Throws it in a field, and then goes to a coffee shop and cries for 6 hours. Then she's a
And that field grew with many penis trees.
Penis trees and penis plants. And oh, great, there's pollen everywhere. It got my eye. No, but she was celebrated. The wife was like, Lorena, you stick it to the man, but if you cut off a breast and hide it,
Yeah, absolutely.
You're just not going to get away with it.
And no
Where's
one
my breast?
No one, will be
I'm a
sitting
hero.
making, no one will be sitting making jokes about it. I mean,
No.
that was joke material for talk shows for about 5
Well,
years.
but
right?
also I think it was joke material because of the subject matter. I mean, she cut off the guy's penis. I mean, and how often does that happen?
Yeah, but if she
Fairly
cuts off
rarely.
his head and says, he used to hit me, you know, it's like,
That's not
good
as
for you,
funny.
go, sister, you go.
But
Not
if
as
you,
funny
if you
when
cut off
chopping the head
her
off.
sexual organ, that would not be funny. That would
No, that
definitely
would be
not
ritualistic
funny.
circumcision.
Right. So
and you're living in North Africa.
I have a friend who was beat up regularly by his wife. He's not with her anymore, and it took him about 2 years to actually say it to me. And because he was so embarrassed, he was so mortified that it was happening that he didn't want to go to the police.
Was he scared to hit back?
Absolutely, he never hit her back because he's a really decent guy.
One of my best friends, I was a bouncer actually for a number of years, and women in fights are like scratching and heels. One of my best friends, you know, he said, "Have you ever hit a woman?" I said, "No, I'd never hit a woman. I just don't believe in it." And he's like, "I've hit a woman." I said, "Why?" He goes, "Because she used to beat me up all the time. She would kick him in the groin. She would scratch
Well,
me in the
yeah, I
eyes."
think there's a difference between hitting a woman and hitting a woman back.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, they don't expect it. That's for
If
sure.
you're getting bullied,
No.
if you're getting bullied, does it matter what the gender is of the bully?
No,
Kate.
I don't.
Kate
No,
Ashby.
No, I don't think it does. I think that if a woman hits a man, I think that if you've been with somebody for a while and you get into a weird fight and a woman pushes a man or whatever and he comes back and just plows her, then I think there's a problem. But I think that if a woman slaps a man across the face or beats or physically goes at a man, I think it's smarter to probably get out of the situation and move on. But
You
no.
can hit her back. You can't.
No, you can't.
You can't.
And a
No.
lot of
Yeah.
women bank on that.
I worked as a bouncer again, and we used to have fights between guys, and girls would just get right in the middle, and they'd be shrieking and pointing and they'd be shoving the guys, and it's like you hit one of them, the rest scatter. And we never
interesting
did,
thing
but I
that-
guarantee you crack one, it's like, okay, girls, party's over. I'll drive. Let's. You know.
The interesting thing in the research of this topic was that men are victimized a lot. I had no idea about that. Like, I know that as a woman, I don't walk in certain areas at night. I don't get into parks or parking lots or on certain streets. I just don't do that kind of thing. Now, do you guys ever feel unsafe walking in any
No.
area? No, you'll go.
But I think it also
Extremely
depends.
rarely.
See,
Extremely rarely.
when you think of victim as a woman, you think violence.
Yes.
See, when I think victim, I usually think of being suckered.
Right.
Because I'm a fairly trusting guy, and
But-
I've been ripped off.
Like you said,
Right.
you had a girlfriend.
I had a
who-
girlfriend who was stealing from me for like 2 months before I even realized it.
What was she? Just money, Chuck?
Just money, little things around
CDs
the
and stuff?
apartment. She was just a thief.
The-
I want my CDs back.
when was the first time? And did you notice everything at once?
You can really not notice things if somebody's willing to give you oral sex. I found
When did you paint my apartment?
Talk about misdirection.
This fog descends, and
the
it's
old
really,
magic trick.
I never had a
kind of
TV.
wandering around.
Look over here.
I probably would have noticed it earlier had I
Not been getting
looking
oral
for it.
sex.
Well,
Because
just-
you don't
Because I'm a fairly trusting
You don't think
person.
like that,
I
exactly.
I don't think somebody's going to steal from me.
I think
mean, if you walk into my apartment, I leave my money by my front door because I'm going to need money before I leave the house. I don't think that anyone who comes into my apartment is going to steal from me because I operate under the premise of why would I invite anyone
Why
in
did
and
the two
people
of
who
you?
would steal
Why
from
did
me?
the two of you break up?
Because I came to the conclusion
That
that it
she
was
was-
costing me a little more than I wanted to spend.
Right. So
Why did you
stop.
break
The
up?
oral sex wasn't worth it.
No,
No.
not at that rate.
Oh, she was Jewish and I was Catholic.
I
It
think
would
men
never
are-
work. She
men are-
stole from him.
Men are victims all the time. I mean,
Ted, when was the last time you were victimized?
Geez, the last time I was victimized was probably when I got a speeding ticket. I don't like speeding tickets. No, I guess that doesn't
You were a
count.
victim after doing
You know-
a buck
you know
20
what
and a
the penalty
70?
is?
I don't know if I've ever been like beat up or walking down the street or whatever, or taken by a woman or anything like that. But I think that
Or another man.
most of
Yeah.
the recipients of violence are men.
Yeah.
Good job, panel. Let's take a break. And yeah, I love going over to Chucky's house and just grabbing a quick 60 or 80 bucks on the way out the door. He's very
Party
unnoticing
at
about
Chuck's
that.
tonight. Party.
We were talking men as victims on Real Men. We got a couple of minutes left. Come back.
Really?
Hey, we've been talking men as victims. Kate Ashby, have you been a big victimizer of men in your life?
You know, I think that women can be extremely coy in. You're at a party and you want to ride home and you just don't come right out and say it, and you around the bush through the park say stuff, and he goes, "Hey, I'll give you a lift if you want
That's
to."
what I say. Giving sex for a ride. If that's victimizing men, I've done it.
Yeah, I think that women probably on some levels can probably victimize men for sure.
Manipulate.
Manipulation, yeah.
Manipulation. I don't. Yeah, manipulation.
Make them feel they want to get married.
But it's,
Is that really being victimized,
I don't know if
Chuck?
a guy's necessarily being victimized in that situation, because guys are usually happy to be manipulated by women.
Right.
I think most of the time
Especially
when guys
manually.
get into trouble with being victims is when they let I think you open yourself up to it a lot of the time. But I think also we're living in a culture now that encourages people to feel like a victim. You've been wronged.
Yeah.
It's not your fault
Yeah.
you slipped on the sidewalk because you're an idiot.
Yeah.
It's
the
the
city's-
library's fault
that's
for
right.
building that sidewalk, and we should sue the government.
Right. Right.
You know, it's not your fault for anything anymore. And to a large
I don't know
extent, it is your fault if you're being
I don't know if a
victimized
little
lot.
post-party manipulation, I would say, is victimizing. There's got to be more serious stuff than that.
Well, you know, maybe
tons
it'll
of- yeah, sorry.
maybe it'll change, but Flanders Fields ain't got no women in it. You know, and I think sometimes we forget that as much as man is a violent creature, and I mean even sex is violence. That's what it is. That's what we do.
Well,
you
if
know?
you're doing it right.
And maybe there will be women in the Flanders Fields of the futures, but we've also saved humanity a number of times. I know we keep trying to ruin it too, but there's enough of us still to win out on the good side. So, aren't we good guys? Huh? Come on.
Dwayne,
Yeah.
final thoughts, Dwayne?
Flanders Fields,
Well,
Dwayne.
Flanders Fields.
Come on.
You know, the Archduke Ferdinand of Belgium gets shot. The next thing you know, some kid named Gordy from Edmonton is laying in a pile of bodies. I don't know if that's. I think he was victimized. I do. I don't
That's
think.
my point.
Oh, I thought you were saying that we saved humanity.
Well, he was victimized.
When did we save
but-
humanity, though?
Well,
Never.
the Nazis didn't
Never.
win. Come on.
The Nazis didn't win.
Right? So a lot of men died to prevent that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice job, guys.
What you say?
Nothing's
Flanders
resolved here
Field-
today.
well, Flanders
We got to
Field
wrap
is
it up.
World War I.
I know that.
Thanks for coming into Real Men. If some beautiful redhead tries to manipulate you on the way home into the party, just be a victim, fellas. Thanks for coming out.
A hotbed.
The Kaiser?
The hotbed. Talk show.
The Kaiser. Well, that's the thing. It's like